Alright, so let's talk about what some of these instruments are. If you look in your course pack on page 2-10, you've got a little picture list of some of the tools that came with your technical drawing outfit. And what we want to do is we want to fill in the names somewhere around the tools while you're listening to the lecture so you can keep it in your brain which tool is which and what they're used for. Okay, so let's start at the top. Drawing instruments. This guy is called a parallel bar. And the parallel bar on a drawing table goes from left to right, and it creates a horizontal datum for all the lines that we're going to draw horizontally left to right. In the MS-12 CAD lab, of course, these are attached to the tables. Okay, so now you probably don't have one of these at home. That's all right. You just want to be aware of what it is and what it looks like. In some CAD labs or in some places, instead of a parallel bar, they've got this thing. It's called a drafting machine. Sometimes it's on like a little spring called a drafting arm. Same idea. This here is our horizontal line, and as we move the machine across the table, it's on a couple of tracks. It's going to give us a horizontal line anytime we need a horizontal. For the low budget or easily transportable version though, we've got this thing here, and it's called a T-square. A T-square goes up against the edge of a drawing board or the edge of a drawing table and slides up and down. And again, the idea is this edge is our horizontal edge, and anytime we need to make a horizontal line, we're going to use it to create that left to right line. So what I want you to see here is my T-square, and I've got a drawing board. This drawing board has a flat edge, a metal edge, and you can draft on anything really. You don't need to have a drawing board. Drawing board is nice. I've got a smooth Borco cover on it. But the reality is you can draw on any flat surface that has a straight edge. Now, I'd recommend if you're going to work on mom's dining room table, that you put several pieces of paper down before you start drawing, because you don't want to press down with your pencil and create grooves in the lacquer on our table. But you really can draw on any flat table with a straight edge. The way the T-square works is the head of the T-square will sit on the edge of the drawing board, and if I want to draw a horizontal line, well, that's my horizontal edge. And when I want to draw a horizontal line in a different location, I will lift the T-square to the location and draw the line. So I can adjust the position of the T-square with my left hand, and then I can use my pencil and draw lines with my right hand. And so long as I always keep the head of the T-square against the edge of the drawing board, every line I ever draw will be parallel and perfectly horizontal to every other line. Now, the big difference between sketching and drawing with instruments is the fact that the paper cannot move while we're working on it. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to get some masking tape. And in your drafting kit, you should have gotten a little tiny roll of masking tape. It's drafting tape, so it's not super sticky, but that's fine because we don't want super sticky tape. We want tape that's going to peel off easy. Okay? The idea is we're going to take our paper and we are going to take our T-square or our parallel bar or whatever we're using here for a straight edge, and we're going to slide the paper down till it touches that straight edge, and then we're going to tape it down by putting a little piece of tape in the corner. And I'm going to do this in each of the four corners, making sure the paper doesn't move around, because if the paper moves while you're using the instruments, you're really not doing technical drawing. You're doing something, but your horizontal lines will be parallel and your vertical lines will be perpendicular to them. So to use the tools correctly, the paper has to be taped down. I've thrown a little piece of tape in each of the four corners of the drawing, so now the drawing doesn't move. Now I've got my parallel bar, and as I slide my parallel bar up and down the paper, I see no matter where I draw a line, any other line drawn to it is parallel. Right? So it doesn't matter if they're close together or far apart, but they are perfectly parallel. And this is what the parallel bar, or the t-square, is used for. Okay? So when we're making our border around the edge of the paper, we use the parallel bar to make the horizontal lines at the top and the bottom. Okay, when we have lines on the drawing that need to be perfectly straight and they're horizontal, this is how we do it. Now, you always want to keep the head of the t-square on one side of the drawing table. Don't flip it to the other side. There's no guarantee that the other side of your table is parallel to the side we started from. And if it's not, and you go to start drawing stuff, well, your lines aren't going to be parallel anymore. And then we certainly never do this. We never take the parallel bar and put it at the top of the table to make vertical lines. There's a different tool to make vertical lines. Because again, there's no guarantee that the top of your drawing table is perpendicular to the side that we started from. So keep the parallel bar or keep the t-square on the side of your non-dominant hand, and then you draw with your dominant hand. So now look, you're doing two things at once here, and this can be a little tricky. I get it, but with a little practice, we can do this. So the proper way to draw these lines, if we're drawing horizontal lines, is you're holding the parallel bar, you're holding the t-square with your non-dominant hand, you're holding your pencil with your dominant hand, and you're going to lean the pencil in the direction that the line is being drawn in. For example, I'm drawing left to right, so I will lean to the right, because that's the direction I'm pulling the line toward. You don't want to lean forward, and you don't want to lean backward while you're drawing these lines on the parallel bar or the t-square. And simply the reason is, if you are leaning, well, what happens if you start leaning the other way, and the other way, and the other way, and the other way? See, pretty soon, your perfectly straight tool is creating a very crooked line because of you rocking back and forth on the edge of it while you're drawing the line. So, hold the tool, hold the pencil, lean the pencil, and you also want to twist the pencil a little bit while you're drawing. Twisting the pencil a little bit while you're drawing will keep the tip sharp longer. It's a way to keep the tip a little bit sharper, a little bit longer. Okay, so this is how we use a t-square or parallel bar or a drafting machine to make horizontal lines on paper.